Hey guys, this is Ryan from Toppo Loco giving you another Jank deck profile. So we're actually working with launch this time. As you guys might know from a lot of my Jank profiles, I seem to kind of stick with the red leaders. And I played Hercule a few sets ago. Actually, it was like during set 10, set 11, and it was still really good then. And I was like, okay, launch, everybody's saying is like the next Hercule. Let me try building that. And honestly, it was completely miserable at first because like I tried building it like a Hercule deck. I tried putting like pseudo super combos. I tried making it blue red, which my Hercule deck was, and it just wasn't too good at all. Um, so actually, it wasn't until I was ready to like just give up on launch and said it sucked. It wasn't until my our new teammate on El Topo Loco, Samuel Martinez, he just joined. So congratulations, Sam. And he was like, you know what, launch definitely does have potential, but maybe blue green or blue red is not the way to go. Maybe go blue green. And he said, really take advantage of this Videl. And I was like, you know what, why not? Especially since blue red or blue green has the Piccolo over here. And I was like, that Piccolo is so good. So let me see if I can work something out. And actually, I did a little bit of tweaking, and this deck is actually really fun. It goes really, really wide, and like to the point where I had like no space on untap on a few games. And of course, its launch, it draws a lot, and that's why it's kind of like Hercule in that way, just because it has a huge draw engine with a weak leader. But it definitely operates very differently than Hercule. So don't believe that whole this is just another Hercule deck. Yeah, it is a big draw deck, but plays nothing like Hercule. So basically, we'll start with the leader. So basically, the front side and the back side are almost identical. When you combo with a card, it doesn't have to be the leader attack. It could be any card, and it's only once per turn. You draw a card basically, and it seems like you're not going to net any cards, or I'm sorry, you're going to net zero basically. But there are some cards in here that will help you actually plus off the effect. And then if you have an effect that flips one of your life over, a red card effect that flips a life over, you may flip this leader over once per turn, basically, and draw a card when you flip. And then you could also, if you combo again after that, sometime that turn, you could draw one more time. So you could potentially draw up to 3 times. Um, like I said, it doesn't seem like you're going to net too many cards because you're losing a card to combo. So sometimes it's not bad because you're not losing hand advantage. But there are a few cards that will help you plus with that. And I'll get into that in 1 second. The backside of the leader, when it does swing, you can minus 5k on any card. That could be big on a lot of small guys like Black Massane because we have a lot of free play stuff. So Black Massane basically is not an issue in this deck. Um, I tried using a lot of the new flip over play the cards, and I just found none of them to be that good. The one card I had in here, the longest was actually the 15k critical launch card, and then even just recently, I felt like it was underperforming, and I went with a slightly better version, I think, with Gogeta. All right, so basically, this is what the game plan is. Turn one, you want to hopefully start with a multicolor. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. But we really don't need too many green energies. Really, just one. But if you have two or three, you can definitely um, make your turns a little bit better because then you can kind of use that energy for maybe a Piccolo and a Videl all in the same turn. So let's start with the multicolors. Running 3 of this Piccolo. He's great. He's part of the plus for the draw power because when you alliance with him, you draw 2 cards, and then he also burns a card from their life if they have 3 or more energy. So you could potentially end the game when they have 3 life with him. Um, then we're running 4 Nappa super combos. This card is amazing in here. I tried the Radis out for a little bit, but I found that sometimes like having all red energy was not ideal. Um, Sometimes you do have to charge a green just because nothing else to charge, or maybe you just want to do more with those green energies. So Nappa actually ended up being better, and plus I end up winning a lot of games with 7, 6, sometimes even 8 life. So being able to use a super combo right away is huge. And another thing with with a Nappa is not only do you get that 10k combo, which could be helpful very early game to make your leader 15k and a draw, you get a free play him afterwards, and then you could potentially use that 10k again if you flipped over or anything like that. So, or you can use it on another turn. So, like, you're not using any cards in hand, but you're able to draw from the leader effect. So, again, that's like a plus. And then we have two check lands. Once we charge a red green turn one, it's ideally going to be either this guy, or one of these guys. Um, I mean, just having one or two more greens is always good. And also the fact that they're red could also be good because then you can kind of use it for your negates or something like that. And then the last card we're running, I figured we're using the Nappa Super Combo, might as well take advantage of the arrival. Tried the Goku out for a little bit. I didn't think Gogeta was going to be great in here, and actually I really like the Champa Beerus because when you play him, you get to give one of your battle cards double strike, so it's almost essentially another double strike Isekai over here. And then you also get a Papa Guy 20k or less. Um, so you get a free card. You can use it. You get a free play on him. You get to use him for Alliance if you really want. You get a double strike, and you could pop something. And this effect actually works really nicely with the leader's backside. If you're swinging with launch, you could potentially kill a 25k. I feel like Gogeta, yeah, it kills a 4 or less, but I feel like there's not too many 4 or lesses that are worth popping nowadays. So having that 20k, I think, was a little bit better. So that's why I went with that. So that's our red-green package. Let's get into the actual launch package. Like I said earlier, I nixed every launch card there was, with the two exceptions of these two support cards because they're definitely necessary and you want to max out on these. So Bulma is just you play, draw a card, but a lot of times you don't even have to do that unless you have nothing else to do with your energy that turn. Typically, what you want to do is just combo with this card. You got to be careful with red and green because they could pop it if it is on the field. So sometimes it's just better to keep it in hand. But when you combo with this card, you flip a life over. So it doesn't matter front or back side. You combo, you draw a card from the leader effect, flip it over, draw again from flipping. And then if you want to combo again, whether it's this attack or the next attack, you get to draw one more time that turn. So this is going to help you flip a lot. And then this card is just so good in here. This launch, basically the same thing. When you combo with it, you get to flip a card. Again, try to use it with your bleeder effect. I try to mostly use the combo from this from the hand when it's on the 10k side, because then the next turn I can use this from the drop. And this is one of the things that's going to plus you cards. When this has an activate battle, so when you are basically attacking with my leader, 5k Earthling only card. So it doesn't work with Hercule because he's a World Martial Arts as well. Basically only works with this and Bulma. But you combo from this from the drop, and then you get a draw from the leader. You get a flip again. So the draw, the drop combo only works when you're on the 5k side. So you do want to make sure you have these in the drop for that and try to abuse them as much as possible. And then you basically are going to be drawing 2 cards because you didn't waste any cards from your hands. This came from the drop. And then you draw 2 from the flipping and the comboing effect. And then if you want to combo again, there's that 3rd card. And then afterwards you have to work this. So you only get so many flips in this deck. So because we're not running the Bulma Unison, basically we have like I think 12 flips total if you sequence everything right. Now, are we going to be able to flip 12 times? Probably not. Ideally, we're ending this by turns 4, 5, but there have been games I've pretty much closed it out in turn 3. So this can go very aggro, very wide, very quickly if things go very well. So that's the whole flipping package. I do find that I use most of my energy on my turns, so I felt like Toppo was kind of not the best way to go. So I went with the Violent Rays. 4 of them, and this card saves you so much because 2 weaknesses of this deck are if they go very tall, because you have to combo out a lot of cards if you want to survive that. Most of the time, you're just taking those very tall attacks. Violent Rays stops those tall attacks, especially if they have a wide board of tall attacks. So it really saves you. and it only costs one energy. You discard a card from your hand, no problem. You either have a dead card in hand or you just put a vanilla. A lot of times you do want to use these vanillas to that advantage, get them in the drop so you can use it with Videl later. And then, so that's definitely a good 4 of. That's the only negate I think I actually run in here. I really don't need anything else. What and because my leader, oh yeah, the other strategy that's really tough with if they go very wide, if they go very wide and they're just hitting you, hitting you, hitting you, you're only drawing so much from the leader effect. It's not like Hercule, you get to draw every combo. So if they go too wide, it really does start to diminish your hand. So Violent Rays can definitely help with the wide approach as long as they're not going small guy approach. Like the Jacks might be a little bit tough in that case. Um, so what I put in here was the secret rare, the negative energy flow, and this basically is going to be free almost every time because you combo so much, you have so many cards in the drop. This is almost always going to be free. So this is just in case they're taking advantage and they might be wasting their whole hand clearing your board and everything like that. Then all of a sudden you just clear their board right back, and then you're like, oh wait, I have huge hand still, you don't, and now we both have no board. So the thing that really diminishes, other than violent rays, them attacking you and just swinging at your leader, is you really generate a huge board. So and there's like cards they want to get rid of all the time. The Piccolo they always want to get rid of. These Yamchas they always seem to want to get rid of. So because of that, and even just the 20k vanilla, sometimes they're just a pain in the butt. So they try to get rid of cards. So it kind of takes that pressure off the leader. And of course, there's the Unison over here that they try to swing at sometimes. So let's start with the Unison. This Unison is really really good in here. I used to think this Unison sucked. Basically, it's a 20k Unison that you play on turn 2, maybe even turn 3 if you want, but it's a 2 cost. Um, it can attack, and the -3 we can't use in this deck because we're playing multicolor energy. So you have to have monocolor or mono red for that. So because of that, we don't even run the Vegito Unison that gets played for free. We only use it for the +1. So the +1, you draw a card, you get a bottom deck a card. So any dead cards you have in hand, put them away. So if you have the 2 Bardocks, maybe you want to get rid of one of them. You have too many 10Ks, bottom one. A lot of times I end up drawing another Unison because I usually only end up having to play one of these guys because they either feel like they don't have to kill it or it's just too annoying to kill and they just waste too many cards in hand trying to kill it. Because of 20k on turn 2, there's very few decks that I could really handle and kill that right away. So, I mean, it has 3 markers on turn 2, and the longer it's out there, just too many markers, they can't kill it. But if they want to spend their attacks on it, great. Okay, so draw 1, bottom deck a card, and then you choose any one red Earthling only battle card with energy cost of 2 and play it. So we have, I think, 10 targets in here. So we got 4 of the Yamcha the Lawless. This is a good card because of it just generates more draw power for you. You're already drawing a lot. Why not draw more at the end of the turn? So you could kind of push and extend a little bit, let them waste cards in hand, and then you kind of just regenerate. And because you're playing this for free most of the time, like it's just great. And this can be a finisher if you tap 2 red. You get 15k in double strike, so it's a 30k double strike then. The other cards that are free plays are vanillas. So we got 2 Roshi. Nothing special about these. They're just Earthling onlys, and same with Yamcha. You just run a total of 6 of them. I think 6 is fine. And so if you free play it with this, this is really good. You swing with a 20k, and then if you have a green energy, you play this Videl, bring that back to the hand, free play a vanilla from the drop that's 20k, and ideally you've comboed with one before, or you combo that turn with one of them, or you discarded one with violent rays. So then you get 2 more swings, you get a 15k, and then another double strike. I'm sorry, not double strike, another 20k swing, all basically for 1 energy because you free play, and then just Videl, and you get 3 attacks basically, and you got to kind of fix your hand a little bit. And then after that, when your vanilla cards in rest mode, if you want, you can play this Gogeta for 1 red. So it gives your Unison a marker. Again, it's not a huge thing. It just makes it harder to kill my Unison. I'm not using the -3 at all. But originally I had the 1 launch card that was a 15k critical. It's almost the same thing. This is a 19k critical. The only thing is that launch can pop something 15k or less. This Gogeta can't do that, but it's a little bit harder to kill because they have to combo up to kill it, and it doesn't have unique. And it's the biggest thing I found with the launch was you really have to sequence things right, and you're like, do I really want to play this right when I'm awakening, or not awakening, flipping? And most of the time, it didn't feel like I wanted to play it that way. This gives you a little bit more control. You're sequencing, kind of surprising them with that next attack for one energy, so that's really good. And because our Unison's almost always active, we have two of these Piccolo over here, double strike, can't be blocked. It's a 20k, and then he gets warped at the end of the turn. Um, Typically in the early turns, you want to try to keep some energy open, and you're using this Goku, and you're mostly using him for the auto effect, but you can free play him, or not free play him, one cost to play him by warping a battle card, a skillless battle card from the drop to play it. So that's another potential attack you could use, but I almost never use that. You're mostly using it on defense. It's a 10k, so that's really helpful for our defensive step. And then you get a free play a two cost vanilla. So you're going to free play these guys on their turn, and then you can even just generate more attacks. So maybe you have two vanillas that you're swinging with, and then you do the whole Videl thing and the Gogeta thing. Since we're running this Piccolo here, we're burning them damage every time it swings, basically. So this Bardock's going to come out for free. You get one or two swings as long as you remember to untap, right, Brandon? So basically, you untap if they do activate a counter. And let's see what else we missing. So originally I had the three launches, so I put two of these Gogetas in here, and sometimes I felt like maybe I want to charge a green late game if I didn't see my multis at the right timing. So sometimes just having another green was good. And so I tried one of these Trunkses out, and he's doing fine at just as a one of. You can make it a two of if you want, but I think he's fine. Since you have the Nappa super combos out, a lot of the time he's going to be the main target. And then what else? So he's just a revenge blocker, basically. So it helps keep your leader alive. We have a double strike Kai, self-explanatory, and I think the only other card we didn't talk about was the Bulma. So Bunny Girl Bulma. A lot of times they are trying to kill these Yamchas, especially if you don't attack with them. They have them when you have them in active mode. You're just drawing every turn with them, and they kind of get annoyed with that, so they try to pop it. And or maybe you swing at it and then gave it double strike, or maybe you're just doing a regular swing and they pop it mid swing, and you're like, okay, cool, I finally got rid of that and I'm good. But then if you free play this Bulma, not only to get a blocker, you basically get that Yamcha back for free. This is going to be your main target most of the time for the free play, but you could also pick either one of these 20Ks, and then of course you could also do the whole shenanigans with Videl and Gogeta if you really want. But that is the deck. Hopefully, I know that was very long explanation, but this is a very complicated deck at first until you really get used to these combos and plays. And sequencing with your combos is very important. A lot of times you do want to combo with one of these guys first, so you get the draw from the leader on the front side. Then you flip, and then if you want to do this, like maybe Goku afterwards, so then now you're getting 15k combo, and you flipped over and you drew, and now you got a free play. But if you reverse that and did Goku first, you get the draw, but then you do one of these guys, and it's kind of like you missed the draw out. You flip, yeah, for the draw, but then you just wasted a card in your hand and didn't get that extra draw. So you really have to sequence your combos right, and most of the time it's going to be one of these guys for free first, unless for some reason you don't want to flip right away, like because you're attacking or something. But I tried recording a lot of matches. Unfortunately, a lot of people either left or it just was a bad recording. But I finally found a good one. This one was a pretty cool deck. Um, so shout out to Toto Daddy. Sorry for any awkward cuts right now. I had to get my charger and switch my Wi-Fi. So here's the match. Just did my typical turn one charge. He's playing a green Broly deck that's going to be doing a lot of hand control. And unfortunately, my leader does draw a lot. So, but he does definitely put in some work. It's a really cool deck. So this is clutch having that super combo. get a draw. So it's basically a regular super combo because you get a draw and then you get to use it later. It's definitely weird playing a leader that does not want to take life as much as possible. Because I mean, why do you want to take life unless you're just going to be wasting resources? So most of the time, I try to stay at a high life total, especially when they get to the late game. Maybe I could start taking those hits then. All right, so I figured I don't really have much to do my energy this turn. Probably going to keep one open for that Goku. So might as well get another draw out of that Bulma. Don't have to worry about him shocking Death Ball because he has nothing in the drop area. So I'm going to combo, draw with my leader. Going to flip one. And I try to keep flipping the same card because I don't want to give my opponent more knowledge of what cards are in my life. So unless I really need that card at a certain time, then I probably will not take the card that is always revealed, and I'll keep revealing that Champa Beerus almost every time. So I flipped over, I drew a card, didn't combo again because I mean I could have dug through my deck a little bit more, but I didn't really feel like wasting any of those cards in my hands. So it's good having those Bulmas and those launches. So it's good that I do have another Bulma, so I can flip over next turn as well. Sometimes you do feel like you might not want to flip over, because sometimes you do want to stay on the 10k side, because if he has some guys I want to pop, and if I don't have the launches or Bulmas, then I can't really control when I pop them. So sometimes staying on the back side for a turn, maybe 2 turns, is not terrible. But once those launches are in the drop, then you could be a little bit more just I'm going to flip every time as possible. All right, so unfortunately he didn't really swing that turn because I really want to play a vanilla, but and I didn't see my Unison, so it's kind of a rough start for me. Not terrible, but there's not much I can really do with my energy. So gonna charge. Now that Unison of his is going to be a pain to deal with because if it's going to remove my combo pieces and my leaders are weak enough as it is. But the thing is, if he removes combo pieces, he does have to discard from his hand. And it does have a +2 effect, so it can be very difficult to kill. It's a 15k on turn 1, you could basically play it. So it can be very difficult to pop, but I'm just going to keep putting pressure on him, on his Unison, and I'll keep drawing, and he won't gain any card advantage. So the reason why I didn't play Bulma this turn is because he has the Unison out. So if he did do Dormant Potential Unleashed, I would either lost that or the Super Combo. And for me, the Bulma is a little bit more important because I want to draw more. So draw from leader. I'm going to flip. Okay, so he is going to kill my combo, but the thing is my auto still goes off on Bulma, so I still get to flip my life. I'm going to flip that same life again. I'm going to flip my leader, draw again. So unfortunately, I'm a 5k versus his 10k Unison, but I mean, I'll just combo something else again. I'm not gaining cards, but I at least could take a marker off, no problem. So kind of wish I kept that Roshi instead, because now I can't really do anything with my energy. It kind of feels bad doing this. So I think I just end up passing turn here. And if I did play Roshi, I could have been a little bit more aggressive. I could have played Roshi, I then and then used the Videl and everything like that. But there is a chance that he does have a counter Frieza in hand. So as much as I really want to do that now, it might have actually been worse if I did. and that might have been my mindset at the time. But I do have these energies open. I do have Violent Rays in my hand, and I do have two Gokus. Those Gokus you can only do once per turn for the free play, um, but it's still combo power, I guess. All right, so he's swinging 15k. So this is where the sequencing is very important. Um, Typically, don't like to use that launch on the front side. Usually, I like it on the back side from the hand. But hey, I get a draw. I get a flip. I'm going to see if he's going to rip out that combo. Honestly, I don't care if he does, because if he does, he's losing a card from his hand. So my auto is still going to happen anyway. And it's good that I'm not really pressuring his leader at this point, because as soon as his leader flips over, his leader's going to be drawing almost every turn, up to 6 cards. So, okay, so I'm just defending, and I might have over comboed here. But the thing is, I'm going to get that free play out of this. I'm not sure how many times he's actually going to swing, because last turn he just passed. So I want to really get one of these vanillas out, especially since I have a Videl in hand. And now that I have a Unison in hand, I could possibly free play. There's no targets in my hand I can free play at the moment. So I'm hoping that I'll draw something out of it. The nice thing about even the Unison, if you don't have a free play in your hand at the moment, you can really bait out their counterplays. So you'll draw a card. Maybe you'll get a target you can play off the draw, and then fix your hand a little bit, and then you ask for a response. And since it's not a since the Unison is triggering the free play, their window one is blind. So they have to decide if they want to do Denial of Hope or Trunks counterplay at that moment. And very few of the counterplays are actually going to work during window two. With his case, he has the Frieza, so Frieza will work during window two. Um, but most of the time, you can kind of just bait out a counterplay, and sometimes you might not even have anything to play. I might just say, "Hey, any response on window one?" And they might do a Trunks counterplay. And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, "Cool, I didn't have anything to play," but they didn't know that. So in this case, I did ask for a response. He said nothing on counter window one. He did have the Frieza, and it does work on window two, so he did pop my guy. But what did it cost me? It cost me one energy that I used the combo with anyway. And I actually don't mind having a 20k in the drop, because I'm not sure if I had any 20ks in the drop for Videl to kind of abuse. So now I just need to get a 20k, and maybe I'll get one with my Unison. We'll see. So my opponent had really good communication with our their counter timings. So he would always ask me about his counter window one and two. I would do the same. So that really avoids confusion, and also avoids conflict as well. Um, and same with whenever I combo. He even at one point is like, you could stop asking me, but I always want to make sure, because if I don't want to put 3 cards down, he'd be like, oh, I wanted to kill that first one, not the third one. So I wanted to make sure that the windows were used properly. Right, so I ended up taking a life, and this is kind of funny, because of I really don't want that blocker there, and it's going to be really annoying to try to kill his Unison, and that's my goal. And I kept on flipping over that Champa Beerus, and I already have a super combo on the field. So not only I don't think I drew this turn, maybe I did, but I could use that super combo, possibly draw, and then and I do want to use my super combos before he does pop it with a shocking death ball or a dormant. So I get use out of it, and then I also get to pop his blocker out of it. So this was kind of nice. And now I have 20k on the field. If I end up playing that Piccolo in my hand, um, it's going to make my Piccolo very strong for Alliance. So I mean, I could out combo this, but I didn't want to waste the other Goku in my hands. I didn't really want to use the super combo yet because again, I might be afraid of dormant potential. Now he did use one of his Frieza counterplays, but if I want to play anything, I have to be smart about it. I need to really get his Unison down to at least one marker before I start to try to play anything. So I figure the Goku would be good. Most of my stuff is comboable. Probably going to play the Unison, so not going to charge that. Bardock, I don't want to charge because I really want to try to get as much red energy as possible. Maybe a few green here and there, but so I do my leader swing. Nice thing about this is where Hercule, you only get the draw effects off the leader attacks, whether it's attacking or defending. Launch, you could really just swing with anybody and get the draw. So I did minus his Unison by 5k, and that minus 5 Unison is, or 5 on any card is really good against some Unisons like Demigra. And Demigra, when it gets hit to 0, they can't take a life for that because it's only when it gets attacked. So if it loses a marker from an effect or from a game state, um, it's just a free marker you're taking off of Demigra, and that makes it very good because sometimes if on turn 2 they only have 2 markers on it, you take one marker off it, and all of a sudden they can't freeze a counterplay you on turn 2. All right, so he didn't want to get rid of my combo piece. He has a low hands, so I'm going to flip over. I drew my card. I'm going to draw another card, and then if I want to combo again, his leaders or his unison's at 10 because I minused it, so I don't really need a combo anymore. So now he went down to 3. He can still counterplay anything I do. It's nice I got a check land in my hand, so I'm going to use that probably next turn. But now I could swing with that Champa. Um, now that he's down to 1 marker, I can start playing stuff without being afraid of another Frieza coming into play. All right, so now here comes the Unison. So I got this one out really late this game. Usually I'm playing it turn 3, turn 2. Um, Sometimes turn 3 feels better just so you have an energy open for either a Goku or Violent Rays, depending on the matchup. Um, so I did play a little bit later. I drew my card, get a bottom deck something. Probably don't need those Gokus at this point because I think I'm going to try to probably play Piccolo this turn, so I'm going to be tapping out. So having a 10k in hand is not going to feel good. So fix my hand. I get a free play. I mean, unless he has like hidden potential of the Saiyans or what was that other 2-drop green card with Vegeta and Dodoria, I think it was, or maybe it was Zarbon. I forget which one that was called. That was like one of the first counterplays that outside of Cold Bloodlust and Crusher Ball. But he's not playing that. Wasn't really expecting it, but just in case. So nothing on window 1. Probably nothing on window 2 because he doesn't have the markers. He could still try to dormant potential me here. But I have a feeling that if he was going to use it, he would have used it a little while ago. So I feel fairly safe, but I mean, he could still dormant potential me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bait it. He probably would have used it here, so I have a pretty good feeling he doesn't have it. So I killed his Unison. Now I get to play that Piccolo. You might think I have no targets in hand. I could have super comboed a Nappa, but I didn't want to use that yet, especially since I think I already used my draw effect. But I get a free play of that Piccolo, so I'm just figuring out who I want to swing at. Do I want to swing at his leader? Do I want to swing at a Frieza and take pressure off? Don't want to swing at the Hrudagarn because I think it helps him go up the chain and I might lose a card or something. So I'm going to try not to touch that. Going for the leader. I'm going to burn him life. I get a free play of that Bardock in my hand. I get an Alliance. So now he's going to be a 36k double strike. Get a free play of that Bardock. and potentially do another double strike. So he probably doesn't have the cards in hand, but even if he did have the cards in hand, he'd be using all of his cards in hand. So took it. Now I got a double strike. If he wants to negate, that's fine. He can negate, and I'll restand. So this deck, as you can see, could go pretty wide. And this was actually a slow game for me. I'm usually going pretty wide, turns 2 and 3, um, just because you're just generating so much free play or cheap play stuff. So, I mean, I comboed with the Videl just to get another draw. And there's the vanilla that I was looking for, but I have more vanillas. I'm sure I'm going to draw more Videls. Um, I did want to keep the Bunny Bulma just in case he does like clear my board or pop something. Then I could at least get the Yamcha back and get a blocker out of it. So I'm going to keep that in my hand instead. Now the next turn, if the Unison lives, I have either another Yamcha that I could draw from, or I could free play the vanilla one. So the end of turn, flip everything back. Piccolo goes to warp. I draw a card. Fortunately, I drew that Trunks a little too late. It would have been nice to play that to protect my Piccolo, but what can you do? So he just happens to have another Unison. So I did all that work to pop that one Unison for basically nothing, but I don't think it was too bad. I think the turn went pretty good anyway. So he awakens. Pretty sure he has Sparking right now. Um, so he's going to use the leader effects. Again, the Piccolo and the Yamchas, that people really want to get rid of those as soon as possible. So he's getting rid of that because next turn I would burn him to 3 automatically and possibly to 1. So he needs to get rid of that card. Now he's swinging at my Unison. He's only at 15k. I think he was just baiting out negates or something. Um, he just swung because why not? He's going to get rid of that card anyway with the Unison. So sometimes I do that too. Like, hey, like with a 5k Bulma leader, I'll swing at leader, and with no plans on comboing up, and I just want to see if they want to waste a negate. Most of the time they don't, but every once in a while when it does happen, it feels pretty good just to have them waste a card for no reason at all. All right, so you went up the chain. Um, this is another card that if I combo, he's going to rip a card out. This one is a once per turn. He doesn't have to discard anything. So now he has 2 potential combo rippers, which is really rough for a leader that wants to combo. And especially a leader that is weak. So he's going to rip that combo out with that effect. But I still get my leader draw because it triggered. I still get the launch flipping over. So I still get a flip over again. So I might have lost the combo power. Um, but now I'm flipping over. My leader's a little bit stronger. And if I want to combo out of this, he's a 20k. I mean, I could use a super combo another card if I really want, but then I feel like we're just negging cards. So I'm going to probably just take this. Now, the nice thing about revealing your life, too, we see I have a Bardock in my life. Now I know I'm not going to take that because why get a 0 combo card for a card that's already out with unique? Um, Also, if they end up critting me for a life, I'm going to crit the 0 combo card. All right, so he's going up the chain again. So he pops that, goes up. Now he has a big blocker that's going to help me discard cards, and he gets to play another guy. So that's just so much value. If you haven't checked out on El Topo Loco, our teammate Kyle has this really cool Hurdigarn revive coup. Yeah, I know people hate the names of all the Goku names, but yes, we're going to call it revive coup. Um, he has that, and he just posted it up a few days ago. So check that out. It's really nasty how much cards it just rips out and how much advantage it has. And this is pretty similar, but with Broly, and Broly has the advantage of having a crit chain to go up very easily, and he's always drawing cards. And even if he's discarding cards with the Hrudegarn combo stuff, he could just draw again with the leader effect. So it's a really cool deck that he's playing. So he just critted me, and what I said before happened to kind of play out. Why combo out of a crit attack when I could just get rid of a 0K combo that I'm not going to want anyway? So I didn't feel bad about taking that crit. All right, so he's swinging on my Yamcha. Again, this is another card that people always want to try to get rid of. I don't think I used my leader ability yet. So he went to 20. I didn't combo yet. So I'm double checking my his cards because I know some cards rip combo pieces out. I think he might have used the Unison, or maybe I misplayed and I assumed he used the Unison. We're gonna find out. So I'm just double checking. None of those guys have ripping effects. I think I'm pretty good, but I'm pretty sure he used the ripping combo piece on the 4-drop, and I thought it was the Unison. So I think I misplay right here. Thinking, and I let go. So now it's official. Now I'm drawing with my leader, and this is when he reveals, hey, I didn't use my Unison yet. So now I feel like a big dummy. Um, okay, so I don't think I drew unless maybe I misplayed and double drew. I don't know if I did. Hopefully I didn't cheat. Um, but I don't think I did. You could replay it if you want and find out if I'm a cheater. But if I did, it wasn't intentional. So I did get another super combo. So I get to keep my Yamcha alive, but I kind of like net at 0 in that case. He's going to use his rebrand, which would be really nasty. But since my deck does draw a lot, it doesn't really affect me right now. But he's going to whittle my hand away eventually. I got rid of Vanilla because I could always free play it, play that with the Videl, which I just drew, or Gray Sandman. And then I got rid of Unison because I don't really need that card anymore. Usually when that Unison sticks, it sticks for good. I think I've only had, out of like at least a dozen games I played, I think only one person got rid of my Unison once. All right, so he's going to block. I think he gets to rip a random card out of my hand. And it's Violent Rage, which I'm fine with because I have a second one, and that card already negs me a card if I want to use it to its full potential at least. So he blocked. I figured might as well swing with the Bardock Resolute first because if he ends up countering it or countering later in the turn, I could restand him. So now he has 2 markers. I don't want to play anything yet because he can still freeze a counterplay me. He can still potentially dormant potential me. That was kind of a weird way to phrase that. Potentially dormant potential me. So I'm going to swing there. I could use my energy for it, or I could just swing for 1, but I want to swing for 2 and make it a 30k. Double strike. Just get rid of it in one swing. Unfortunately, even though I read the cards a second ago, I didn't read them carefully enough. So now he's just going to pop these guys, which is kind of unfortunate. So now his Unison is still alive. Luckily for me, I do have a Bunny Bulma. So he did kill my Champa, but I'm going to get that free play of that Yamcha. But I wasted 2 energy for nothing. So a little bit of a misplay, but luckily I had a little bit of a backup plan, I guess. So he used that effect. He KO'd it. He gets the free play another Hrudegarn. The deck just keeps free playing cards and goes up. But these monsters are so strong too. So he's getting the 20k out, the one that rips a combo piece out. So again, he can rip out 2 combo pieces. So I really want to get rid of that Unison as soon as possible. So that's one less combo piece he can get rid of. So let's see, what am I going to do? He could still freeze a counterplay me, so he's wondering why my Yamcha is still there. and I'm just letting him know. Bulma brought him back. Bulma doesn't have any, like, usually Bulma could bring back a four cost or less Earthling only card, but I'm not really playing any big Earthling only cards. So really, the target most of the time is going to be Yamcha the Lawless because you get that double strike potential, and also you get the draw power. I did want to play this free play Trunks while I still have a Nappa on board. So if he does Dormant Potential or Shocking Death Ball, I at least have a Revenge blocker. So now I have two free blockers basically on the board. All right, so I'm going to just use my leader swing. At this point, I don't think he has a Dormant or a Shocking Death Ball, or else I think he would have used it a little bit earlier. All right, so I'm not even going to have to combo with my leader yet. Still haven't comboed yet because if he could rip two cards out of my combo area. So I'm trying not to waste cards that way. But now I could end up killing this Unison. And once his Unison's gone, it's going to be hard for him to kind of gain traction again. So at this point, since he's only at one counter, I could plus my Unison, draw a card, and I do have a few potential free play targets, either a Vanilla I could play or one of the Yamcha the Lawless. Looks like I have four targets in hand, so that's pretty good. I'm going to bottom deck one of the Vanillas because I could always get it back with a Nimbus Goku. So I'm going to free play Yamcha. Just checking my drop. Okay, I do have another Vanilla, so I get the most out of my Videl. Great Saiyaman. Get rid of that Unison so I don't have to worry about that next turn. Don't worry about cards getting ripped from my hand. Free play the Unison, or free play the Saiyaman. Yamcha goes back to hand, and then I get a Yamcha or Roshi or whatever it is from the drop. I have a few Roshi or Yamchas in there. So now at this point, I can either try to clear out his blocker, but his blocker is 30k, and like his deck is making my hand thin a lot, so I'm not feeling too good about that. Um, so I asked if he's good. He's going to use that effect. Might as well. But I still get the draw effect from my leader, and I can still flip my leader, so I'm still plussing. There's that secret rare ball. I don't think it's going to come into handy to this matchup because once I start popping his guys, he has to free play guys anyway, and he might even discard cards from my hands. So in this matchup, it's not the best. The other matchup I found that it really doesn't help too much in is the yellow Whis deck. That deck stomped me earlier today. It's one of the few losses I had with this deck. First time playing it too, so I was getting used to how it works. But I mean, I swept his huge board of guys, but then he just replayed a bunch of vanillas off of it. So didn't, and then he could just go up his vanilla chain or whatever you want to call it for the Whis chain. All right, so I didn't combo yet on this side, so I'm super comboing. Draw a card. Unfortunately, I can't Great Saiyaman again because you can only do it once per turn. But I get a super combo out. He's at 3 life right now, so I really wanted to pressure him down to 2 life because I still have 2 energy open, and I could potentially close out the game with Yamcha. He only has 4 cards in hand and 1 combo card on the field. So I'm thinking 30k should be able to push through, and even if he does out combo it, I'm in a good spot because then he has no hand. Yeah, he could refill his hand next turn with Broly, but I still feel pretty good about that. All right, so this is where I'm like, hopefully he doesn't have the secret rare Great Ape in hand, but I try not to overextend too much. But I'm going to use the super combos. I do still have 2 revenge blockers, or 1 revenge blocker and 1 free blocker. So I'm pushing, but I'm not overextending. I'm a little scared at the same time. So I'm keeping 2 Yamchas in my hand, or maybe just 1 Yamcha, because I could free play it next turn and maybe generate some hand value again. And I'm going to be drawing at the end of the turn anyway. So I'll have 4 cards in hand. I'm tapped out, so Violent Rage is kind of useless. The Secret Rare is kind of useless. So, I mean, if he makes me discard at any point, it's not. Maybe I could discard one of those guys. At this point, I'm like, all right, I didn't want to overextend, but should I have just shotgun and went for it? It felt like 65 double strike was good enough, but maybe I could have made it 80 double strike. And as soon as I saw the super combo, I'm like, oh, he probably has 3 more super combos in hand or something ridiculous, because that's how it always turns out. I think that might be his only one. Yeah, so he said, that's game. All right, cool. I probably overtalked again. Try to go into a lot of detail about my deck profiles, but that's it for today, guys. Have a good one and stay loco. Later.